My name is Daniel Raffel. I run a company called Heavy Bits, and we build a product called Snapguide. We're basically building a service that lets people create how-to guides on their mobile phones so that they can share step-by-step instructions with other people. I mean, I think that I've always, I've been on a couple teams where I've been fortunate to sort of work with the cream of the crop. And in doing that, I think I learned that it's always great to be sort of like the worst person on like the best team. So and I think I started with my co-founder Steve, who I had met at a previous startup, and he was someone who I always kind of like dreamed I'd have the opportunity to work with again. So we started the company together. So like the first step was really finding like a partner who I believed in, who I knew was like amazing. And I thought, the two of us were really complementary. Like we are very good at things that the other one is not, and we have very different interests. And so we're just a very complementary partner. In terms of actually like reaching out to sort of like, people that we wanted to sort of employ, it was really challenging because we started doing that before we actually raised capital. And so the things that we did that were effective was essentially we had built a prototype. And we spent about 6 weeks doing that, and it was a pretty solid prototype at the time. It was basically like a mobile app and a web service that worked very well together, and it was just it was polished for something that was only like 6 weeks old. So that allowed us to kind of convey the vision in a way that actually worked. And I think that like the first person we hired, I don't think he probably would have joined if like we were kind of like, trying to paint a picture but not showing like how it actually worked. From sort of like a tactical perspective, I identified people in my network and also sort of just on the internet. I kind of made like hiring our top priority. We're very lucky. Like people in the technical field are fairly easy to find. Like I think if you're trying to find like a waitress, like I'm not sure that like the average waitress has like their email address and like a code snippet online to like see how well they've performed. But for engineers and designers, it's fairly common for them to sort of share their work and to be very reachable. And so through a combination of GitHub and LinkedIn and Dribbble and targeting third-party companies that are doing really high quality work and figuring out who works there and who might be responsible for the stuff that I really like, I was able to kind of correlate who I should reach out to. Just very early on, I just kind of wrote very personalized, fairly lengthy emails to people who I really wanted to work with, whose body of work I had identified as sort of being like top notch. And so I just recruited them. And I didn't reach out to like a recruiter to do that because I knew what I wanted. Anything that is really well done is generally executed because of like a team. And so I think Thomas always did a very good job of making sure that everyone worked really well together. In fact, in the restaurant, all employees were referred to as chef. There was no single chef. Like in a traditional restaurant, the chef would be the chef de cuisine, and that's who you would refer to as chef. But in Thomas's organizations, everyone's a chef. And so I kind of like probably think in the same regard where I happen to be the CEO of the company and helped found it, but I'm not really responsible for the work that we put out. It's like a team effort. And so I think we have a tendency to kind of work very collaboratively to arrive at sort of decisions. And we work with like really high quality ingredients. Like the people that I hired were sort of like, I think, the ingredients. Like we wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for them. So making sure you start off with like great talent is to me far more important than what space you're in or what you're trying to do, because frankly we couldn't have arrived at something that was as high quality as our first version product if we didn't have these people.